Hello, this is Johna Ray, and you're watching 7th Street Productions. That's good productions.
Hey, greetings Earthlings, welcome back to 7th Street. I'm sure you guys are probably wondering why I'm not doing this on YouTube live like I usually do, and that's because YouTube decided to change their rules again, and now I can't do any live streaming until I have 1,000 followers. So hintity hint hint, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know when a new video has been released. I planned on doing some live YouTube videos at Crypticon, which I was just at this last weekend, but of course that's where I figured out that I am not allowed to do live videos, not until I get 1K subscribers. So anyways, just a quick update on that. The screening for Jesus I Was Evil went really well. We had some walkouts, but it's a pretty offensive film. It's definitely not for everybody. But for the people that stuck around and saw it, we had pretty positive reactions from the film, and everyone seemed to be excited that it will be coming out on DVD and able for VOD streaming via Wild Eye releasing. Of course, every year I get some cool stuff from Crypticon, a lot of movies. I got signed posters and stuff like that, you know, just for my movie room and around the house. And it's been a while since I've done a movie collection update, and that's because with moving and everything, I was really trying to save money. But you know that when I go to Crypticon, I'm going to get some cool stuff. So without further ado, let's just get right into this movie collection update. The first one here that I have, I actually didn't get at Crypticon Seattle. I got this for my birthday from my girlfriend, and that would be the Warner Brothers Blu-ray release of The Haunting, which is a great film. You know, I'm sure everyone's probably already seen this, or they're at least aware of it. There was a fairly popular remake in '99, I remember. I wasn't a big fan of it, just because even by then, as a kid, I'd already seen this multiple times. But I remember there was a lot of hype around it. I remember the trailers and everything. I remember that pretty vividly. Like, they were pushing that movie pretty tough. This movie's great. I think it has one of the best ensemble casts of any, you know, kind of like classic old haunted house movies. I think it's right up there with movies like The Old Dark House and stuff. Of course, you have Russ Tamblyn, who has been in so many things, but of course I know him mostly from the Toho movie War of the Gargantua. Also, Richard Johnson is in this, and he's the scientist, the doctor from Lucio Fulci's Zombie. So, I mean, you have some really, really good actors in this movie. God, it's just a nice little, like, spooky old dark house haunted movie. I used to say, I don't know if I would still classify it this way, but when I was a teenager, I always said that this is probably like one of the scariest black and white ghost movies, like old classic haunted house movies. I always thought that The Haunting was the scariest. I don't know if I would, it's definitely up there, but I don't know if I would say it's the scariest old black and white haunted house movie. But this one's worth picking up. Not a lot of special features on it. Basically the same special features that are on like the DVD that was released, you know, a while back. But it's always nice to have this one on Blu-ray. It looks really good. You know, I always thought the movie looked good anyway, but yeah, transfer is pretty clean on this one. Moving on, this is the only one from Severin that I picked up this weekend. And that would be the Umberto Lenzi cannibal classic, Eaten Alive. Now, Eaten Alive is the third, I believe, cannibal film that master director Umberto Lenzi did. It's got Mimi Lai in it. It's got Robert Kerman, who I think most people recognize from Cannibal Holocaust, but he was also a porn star, so there you go. It's also got Ivan Razumov in it. that like Swedish actress from Fulci's Gates of Hell. I always forget her name. This one is really I don't know. It's sort of middle of the road for me. I really want to like this one more than I do. I thought maybe getting this Blu-ray with like a more cleaned up version of it and all these special features would make me like it more. I don't dislike this movie. It's definitely trying to be like a Jim Jones kind of thing, like Jonestown and kind of the whole cult aspect. I think at times it kind of drops the cannibal part by the wayside, which is a shame because I think the cannibals look really good in this, and I think the gore is really well done in this. I think there were some spots for missed opportunities, but I love how the movie starts in New York with like this like tribesman running around like killing all these people who like weren't supposed to escape the jungle. I thought that was really good. This release is awesome. The special features look great. The only thing is it's really hard to get it out of this freaking slip sleeve. I don't know if you can really see that. I know I'm using my 60D for this. I'm not using my film, so I can't get really close. But the cover looks great. I mean, it's gonna look great on the shelf. I really like the black cases that they do over at Severin. God, they always do a really good job. The packaging looks fantastic. The movie looks great. This is definitely worth getting. I mean, the special features are super long. There's like a great one, like a little documentary about Mimi Lai. Yeah, this one definitely worth picking up. I'm really glad I got this one. Moving on, I've wanted this one for a long time, and it's funny, I wasn't aware that Vinegar Syndrome released this. I always thought it was Code Red. Code Red. And that is Don't Go in the Woods Alone. This is just like a classic. It's funny, I was just working on the new Friday the 13th Vengeance, playing a role in it. And actually at Crypticon I was on some panels for it, you know, because, you know, I'm like sort of a lead in that movie. But God, this movie's like this movie's great, man. This is like the ultimate Friday the 13th like rip-off, you know, with just these kind of like annoying campers who go into the woods and there's like this crazy wild man out there and it's really bloody and just like kind of crazy. It's just like one kill scene after another. It's like fuck storyline. Just like keep the kills going. This one's really good. It's cleaned up really nicely. You know, I have this one on VHS. You know, I know that Shriek Show released a DVD years back, I believe, and has never really looked very good. You know, there's only so much you can do to a movie that was like filmed, I think, I believe, in 16mm film. But you know, other like VHS rips and stuff and like versions on YouTube are like almost unwatchable. This like looks really nice. It's really cleaned up really well. The behind the scenes features are like not my favorite just because they're old. I kind of wish that maybe Vinegar Syndrome had done like something else, kind of like how Severin does. But I mean, those are just like little complaints. Overall, this Blu-ray is great. It looks good. The movie's good. It's worth getting. So definitely check this out. Every year, Severin has every year, Vinegar Syndrome has a table at Crypticon Seattle, and man, they just eat all of my money up, man. I blow like a ton of money at that fucking table. So I believe almost the rest of these are Vinegar Syndrome releases. This is one that my friend Josh convinced me to get, and it was okay. It was okay. I almost wish maybe I would have gotten something else at the table. And it's There's Nothing Out There, which is a I believe it's early 90s, late 80s, yeah, 1990. Little feature film. I think it was also shot on like 16mm. Yeah, it's got this. And then the reverse sleeve is basically this. These new slip cases, by the way, are really cool from Vinegar Syndrome. It looks like they're doing this with like most of their releases now. It's got like the embossed lettering and the little monster eye. This is like a self-aware monster movie. Like the main character in it like knows everything about monster movies, and it's really tongue-in-cheek, and there's a lot of like mugging to the camera. But it's just these friends who go to this cabin, and there's like this monster that's in the lake, and he can like kind of like mind control people, and it's just going around killing all the friends. And of course, like the one guy knows exactly what to do and how to avoid the monster, and I guess it's kind of like Scream a little bit. You know how Scream is self-aware. I'm trying to think of other like self-aware movies. Return of the Living Dead, I think, is like another good comparison, just in that like self-aware aspect. There's a lot of like references to other movies, other monster movies, other like camping alone in the woods movies. This one was fun. I definitely need to revisit it again. I was just kind of up late watching it, and it didn't like wow me or anything. And Vinegar Syndrome releases some really good stuff, some other ones that I really wanted to get, but my friend was like really pushing this on me. He was like, it's gonna be awesome. And it was pretty good. It's definitely worth it. I'm glad I got it. Moving on, this is one that I knew beforehand that I had to get from Vinegar Syndrome. I'm so glad that they released this on Blu-ray, and that is Uninvited, the killer cat movie. Like the killer genetically enhanced cat movie. It's the cat movie with the little cat inside of the big cat. This movie is fucking crazy. And it's even crazier that it was directed by Graydon Clark, who did movies like Final Justice with Jodan Baker. Like, I know that he did I think he did like Without Warning and stuff like that. I know that he did genre movies, but this still feels like really kind of like out of place for him. This release is really good. Once again, the transfer is beautiful. The special features, although few, are pretty damn good as well. I really like this new cover with the embossed eyes and the logo, and then on the back you kind of have another version of the poster with the kitty on it, and then it's same thing. The reversible sleeve is this side. Yeah, man, I don't know what else to say about The Uninvited. It's a movie that definitely deserves a reference, this film. It's just so fucking crazy. Like, you watch this movie, and you're like, what the fuck were they thinking? Why did they think that this was, like, were they trying to make a comedy? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's a killer, genetically modified alien cat that escapes onto a yacht with some people who stole money, and go figure, man. You just need to see this movie. The release is great. Vinegar Syndrome, order it online. This was another one that I knew that I wanted to get, mostly because of this cover, man. This looks fucking great. That slipcover is amazing, and it's House of the Dead, which is not the horrible zombie movie that was made in like 2004. This is a late 70s, I believe. 78, yep. This is a late 70s anthology horror film directed by Sharon Miller, and which was pretty surprising. I had seen half of this movie once before because I have it on a budget DVD pack, and the transfer was awful. It was almost unwatchable, and I got through the first two segments, and I thought that although the transfer was bad, the movie itself kind of seemed to be a little bit underrated. It centers around this guy who's like cheating on his wife, and he gets caught in this rainstorm, so he runs into a funeral parlor, and like the mortician is like telling him the stories of all these bodies. And the first one is really good with like this teacher, this really mean teacher, and then she's being terrorized by all these like little kids in clown masks, like Halloween masks and stuff. And then at the very end, they like take their masks off, and they're like monsters that just kind of resemble children. And I thought that was a really good one. And then the second story that I saw a long time ago is about this guy who like sets up this camera in his house, and he films himself killing all these women, and most of the short is just one static shot from one angle, and he like talks to the camera and stuff. And I was like, other than Cannibal Holocaust, like, is this? I mean, I guess Cannibal Holocaust came out later. Like, is this one of the first like found footage horror movies ever made? I know Peeping Tom, sort of, but yeah, it kind of blew me away. So I picked up the Blu-ray, finally watched the full movie, thinking, oh man, I'm going to do a references film on this movie. And the other two shorts in this movie are complete garbage. They're not even like horror shorts per se. Like the third one definitely isn't. It's just about like these two like world-class detectives who are trying to solve this murder, and it's like played like a comedy. And then the last one is about like this guy who's mean to homeless people, and then he goes through this like crazy kind of jigsaw thing, and then it makes him appear like he's a crazy homeless person. So it's just weird. I don't know. I'm really glad I got this Blu-ray, but I ended up not being as big of a fan of this movie as I thought that I would be. Okay, and moving on here, my last two I just bought at a table that were like used DVDs, and of course I just kind of sifted through them, and I saw one that was really interesting, and then one that I knew I needed just for collection's sake. And this one, I watched about half of it last night, and then was just kind of doing some other things. And that is this movie called Kiss of the Tarantula. And at first I thought that this was, when I first saw it, I thought it was that giallo film, like The Belly of the Tarantula or whatever. And then upon further inspection, I was like, no, this is like some super low-budget rip-off of Kingdom of the Spiders made at around the same time. And I mean, I'm a big fan of creature features, especially spider movies, especially when back in the day when they used real spiders in movies. I love movies like this. And the intro to it was pretty interesting. And it seemed like this movie was going to be really good. I haven't seen the whole thing yet. But overall, I thought this was like a pretty big find. It's like it was released in 2002, and you can really tell. I mean, it's just like VHS quality transfer, nothing crazy. The main menu is like super dated now with like these little spider cartoons like walking on this web, and it's like the only special feature is like the trailer for this movie. But yeah, I thought this was pretty cool. I had never even heard of. Maybe I have VCI Entertainment. I think I have some other old DVDs of theirs. But, I mean, it's funny, even when you pop it in and you watch the trailer for this movie, beforehand there's a little VCI advertisement, and it's like, now available on VHS and DVD, courtesy of VCI, which is funny. I mean, you saw the little companies printing VHS tapes. Not printing VHS tapes, producing VHS tapes at this time. But yeah, this one seems to be pretty good cover art. I'm really glad that I got it. You know, I have a whole creature feature section in my movie collection, and I've got a bunch of spider movies, so this one will fit right in. I need to finish watching this. I'll probably even do that tonight. And last but not least, if you had watched my last video, which was my whole movie room and some of my movie collection, you saw that I have an entire shelf of midnight movies, and I saw this midnight movie double feature, which means I had to get it, and it is The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake, which is the only one of these two. I've never seen Voodoo Island with Boris Karloff. I believe that it's just in the public domain. I've never watched it. Even though I love Karloff, I've actually never seen it. But The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake, about 2 years ago, it was on Comet TV, and I was hanging out with my dad, and I had never seen it, and I was like, hey, let's watch this, you know? I mean, the only time I feel like people around me ever see a movie that they wouldn't normally see, it's because I'm there pushing them into it. So we sat there and we watched The Four Skulls of Jonathan Drake. And it's good. It's a good old classic, like 50s, maybe early 60s black and white chiller. Like this witch doctor shrinks these heads and stuff, and like it's really cool. Like he's got like his mouth is sewn shut, and it's kind of like your typical like detectives trying to figure out this series of satanic murders. It was a really good one, so, you know, not only was it a good movie that I knew I would enjoy watching, but of course, it's a midnight movie, and it'll fit perfectly on my midnight movies shelf. So, that's all I've got, guys. You know, I'm currently working on a new reference this film right now. I've got a couple of things. I've been, like, auditioning for different projects and staying busy, and also I've just sort of had like writer's block recently. You know, I tried to write a short film. I mean, I did write this short script and just haven't really been a fan of it or any of the things I've been doing. You know, I've been really busy with acting, and my mindset is there, and like that's what I want to be doing. So it's hard for me sometimes to get like back into the mode of doing YouTube videos and writing scripts for YouTube videos and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, guys, just, you know, keep the likes and the subscribes and the comments coming. You know, all of that stuff really motivates me to keep doing these. So all of that stuff really helps. And of course, if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, I can start doing YouTube Live again. I can go watch movies in the theater and do those live videos, which I love doing. So everything helps, guys. Please keep supporting the channel. Find 7th Street Productions on Facebook. Find me, Calvin McCarthy, on Facebook and on Instagram. You know, follow us, support Jesus I Was Evil. It's going to be released soon. Watch our short films that we have on our YouTube channel. And until next time, guys.